Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of r/ProRevenge. My name's Ryan, the official host here on Reddit Voice, and I look forward to bringing you guys today's top stories. Before I do though, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button, as well as make sure you got notifications turned on, that way you could stay up to date with all the latest and the greatest. Can't pay for gasoline? Pay $1,000 for repairs instead. Backstory. This happened in the 90s, right after I had moved out of my dad's house after college. I was broke and in search of a job. My brother, who owns a local mechanic shop, helped me find a job and place to live in the area. The place I lived was a cramped trailer park, but I did have a small patch of grass that needed mowing. Also, the place had poor heating and cooling. I had to install my own window unit and use kerosene heater for heat. Not a good idea, by the way. But it is what's available, and it was indoor, rated surprisingly. My neighbors, who we'll call Josh and Anna again, are the type that have a nice expensive car, despite not being able to afford power, food, or anything else. But who am I to judge? The car? A Ford Thunderbird Super Coupe. Round 1. It's getting springtime and my weeds are starting to grow. So I get a small power mower, a gas jug, and some gas. I mow my yard in about 5 minutes. Done. Next week I come out and my gas jug is empty. Well, crap. Round 2. It's week 2 of mowing season and I go get some gas. This time I get less, and before I put the jug up, I place a small handwritten note on it. Attention gas thief. Contains water. It didn't really, but I was testing a theory. And yep, they stole the gas anyway. At this point, I still wasn't sure if it was actually them or not, but I was able to find out. Round 3. Mortality. It's now 4 weeks into mowing season, and at this point it's warmed up. My new shiny 220-volt AC unit is humming in the living room, and I no longer need my kerosene. I take my gas jug and kerosene jug, get some gas/Kero, mow my yard, put my gas jug inside my door, and leave my very full bright blue kerosene jug next to my mower. He took it. The fallout. Anyone who works on cars knows that gasoline-powered engines will not run on kerosene. So yeah, he didn't make it much farther than the top of the hill. Best part is, the warranty didn't cover the damage done by using the wrong fuel, and to fix it, the tank had to be drained, the lines had to be drained, the filter changed, and new fuel injectors installed. Josh ended up paying my brother over $1,000 to fix his car. I think my favorite part was walking by Josh later with my empty Kero jug, mumbling about why would someone steal kerosene in warm weather. He never admitted he did it, he never stole my gas or kerosene again, and finally he learned. Or found a new victim. Neighbors were consistently loud, so I got a bit louder. At the wrong time of the year. Throughout the year, I had noisy and thoughtless neighbors. They'd often have loud parties that would go to the early hours in the morning. They were all in uni and of Indian descent. This becomes important later on. I had called the police, called the apartment manager, and no one would do anything about it. I was losing sleep and my work was becoming affected as well. I had spoken to them directly and they completely disregarded me and refused to just shut the heck up. This went on for months and I was writing out my lease to move somewhere else. One day I'm sitting watching TV on a nice spring day, and I have my windows wide open, hearing one of the neighbor's friends come over. He asks if he's coming out, and he says no, he needs to study for an important test he's taking the next day. This little snippet of info was all I needed. His friend leaves and he closes the door. I then proceed to take my speakers and put them against the walls, near where I knew his desk was. There were balconies outside, so I often saw him studying here. I began to blare Merzbow and death metal straight at the wall. I put on my noise-canceling headphones and blasted it as loud as possible for hours. My landlord actually ended up coming to the apartment because I didn't hear him knocking, and he's obviously flipping out, but I'm like, meh, you never did anything when I complained, so good luck. Call the cops. My lease was set to be up soon anyway, and I was leaving the state, so F you guys. Landlord leaves, and I'm still amped up on adrenaline, and it's quiet for maybe 20 minutes. I just intermittently started blasting music. The neighbor comes over irate, screaming that he has a big test and that he's got to pass it. Apparently a medical student. I laughed in his face and said, I don't hear anything. He then makes a fantastic mistake, which was telling me he didn't just have a final tomorrow, but it was finals week. Oh great. Added stress for the week. equals the fact that I continue doing this every night for the rest of the week. I set my alarm to go off every 30 minutes, and I'd bang on the walls with a hammer and blast music. I was going a bit crazy as well, but that didn't matter, because I was fucking this guy's life up. Around day 3 of no sleep for anyone, he comes over screaming about how in India his family will disown him and all of this other nonsense. This made me laugh, and I said the same thing over and over again, that I just didn't hear the music, and I think it was coming from somewhere else. I basically started gaslighting him, acting really nice when he came over in a rage. That weekend, my landlord gave me some BS notice that I had to leave, which I was fine with, because he broke my lease and I wanted to get out anyway. I got my deposit back, and on the last morning I was there, I was moving out, and I knocked on the D-head neighbor's door at 8 a.m., asked him if he wanted this old AC unit, and I was going to throw it out otherwise. He was in a daze, and I don't know if he really understood what was happening any longer. Anyway, hopefully I effed up his life and his future a bit. Should've just shut up when I told him numerous times ago. Besting a travel insurer. In 2013, my dad passed away while my brother and I were on our own independent international adventures. I was in Spain and my brother was in Canada, and we needed to get back to Australia. My travel insurance was dodgy, but eventually paid out after a few complaints, which is pretty standard practice. My brother tried to claim $9,000. He could only get one emergency seat on a bunch of connecting flights, and with that, his flight back after the funeral, etc. And the other cancellations, it all added up. Shock, horror, his claim was rejected. Back then, there wasn't any industry body that dealt with the travel insurance companies. Or if there was, we had no idea who it was. So my bro went through the usual hurdles involved with the appeals and complaint process. Eventually, they told him that his claim for $9,326 was rejected and their determination was final. So, back then, companies didn't really have Twitter handles, especially not insurance companies. So my bro, Ever the Troll, created a Twitter handle in this insurance company's name, complete with their official logo. He quickly set about gaining thousands of followers and legitimately began answering their questions with truthful albeit quite negative responses. Things like, "My daughter and I want to travel to Paris. What insurance cover would you recommend?" "We'd recommend you take the premium for our comprehensive cover and burn it. We don't like to pay out on any insurable event because it upsets our shareholders. Have fun in Paris." The insurance company got wind of this and sent him a cease and desist letter. My brother counteroffered with a contract for the company to purchase the Twitter account and 2,500 potential customers for the very reasonable price of $9,326. They agreed. Be sure to pay your IT help. I had been working at a computer repair shop on a commission-based system. We'd get PCs in, and then techs would not get paid until the repair work was paid for, and if the client didn't pay for the work performed, the shop would take possession after a time and resell the equipment. It wasn't uncommon for the techs to be screwed out of work they had done. To make this job sound even more appealing, the shop owner would throw PCs from his friends and family to fix, which was not paid work. I was looking forward to a pretty big check due to just cranking out the repairs, but I found out that these were all friends of the owner, so I worked for free those 2 weeks. One of the things that we do is pull the HDs and create a complete image of the whole drive for archival protection to be wiped after the job is done. Turns out that the owner of the computer shop and his wife were part of the swingers community and were hosting a small but local swingers site that they ran off of the notebook they brought in for repairs. I grabbed the hard drive and told the owner that he needed to pay me for the work I had done. The owner fired me on the spot. I had grabbed my tools and walked out the door, and without realizing it, I had the HD in my hand. The owner had built a reputation in the small town, and it was located in for being a good Christian business. And the owner portrayed himself as the pillar of the community. I happened to get this information off of the drive, and I was able to get access to his passwords, plus close to 4 terabytes of pictures and videos of their swingers website. Waiting on my 3 weeks for the last check, I decided that I'd go scorched earth instead of looking for a payout. Step 1, his business. I had some time to look over the labor laws and found out he violated quite a few of them with me. We were treated as contractors, but he took out the taxes and SSI, which never were paid into the system. The other thing was, we were required to clock in like hourly employees, but were paid on commission, so due to the pay structure, many employees were getting well under minimum wage for some weeks. Step 2, his reputation. Having the sign-on info, I decided to have a few interesting things with the company website and their swingers site. I put a link at the bottom of the company webpage where I directed people to the swingers site they ran, and I changed the password authentication to allow everyone into the paid areas of the site. I also took down some of the pixelated pictures of him and his current wife and posted the original pics. It took him about a week to find out all of this. I also sent out a mass email to everyone on the owner's email list to check out the swingers site. I also gave his ex-wife the drive to help in her court battle. The fallout? Long-standing contracts had been terminated by his clients in droves. The labor board did an investigation and fined him for his rule breaking, and the IRS did an audit where they found further evidence in his crimes. In the end, he lost business, his kids, his reputation, and his current wife because he thought he was too much of a big shot to not pay his IT help. And there you have it, folks. The end of today's r/ProRevenge. We kinda had the consistent theme of short stories today. If you like the short stories, be sure to leave a like on the video, as well as make sure you got notifications turned on. That way you could stay up to date with all the latest and the greatest. As always, my name's Ryan, the official host here on Reddit Voice, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the very next video.